my fellow classmates, and distinguished guests. It is my honor to welcome you to the class of 2023's graduation ceremony. As graduates of Driftmeyer Engineering, we represent a small but powerful portion of UGA's graduating class. We are not only engineers, but we are the builders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow. Now, while I have your attention, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. UGA is the third college I've attended. I graduated from high school in 2017 when most of my fellow classmates were learning to drive. And my first pursuit out of high school was not engineering. In fact, at the time, I thought engineers drove trains. My college pursuit was of business management, gaining a degree from Athens Technical College so that I could continue growing my landscape business that I started in high school. There was nothing wrong with that plan. In fact, I truthfully joke that I'm taking a pay cut when I begin my engineering career. Grass pays. However, the reason for my change of course was not money, and it dang sure wasn't that the chicks dig engineers. My change was to leave a work of daily maintenance and begin a life's work of building a better future, a lasting legacy for my family and a better world around them. I came to UGA with that story in hand, believing I was a very unique individual. And while that was true, I haven't met anyone with my story. It seems that Driftmeyer is full of people with their own stories. From all over the state, the country, and the world, different views, different backgrounds, different dreams, different stories. I remember Dr. Yao's Electronics 1 class, the first class after the mask came off from COVID. It showed me that I was not the only student with an interesting story. There I learned the story of Baraka, who after receiving his degree in music, chose to return for another degree from UGA in electrical engineering to work in the audio industry. I learned the story of Elkanah Tay, who after visiting his family in Ethiopia and seeing the grid instability there, chose electrical engineering and has accepted a job at Georgia Transmission to keep our lights on at home and to one day help his family in Ethiopia. And my favorite, I learned the story of Kelvin Marahildo, who worked full-time as an electrician throughout his college career, wired Kirby's office in the Buttsmear building, helped in Sanford Stadium, and even everyone's favorite, Driftmeyer. This graduating class is full of stories like these. First-generation engineers, first-generation college students, breaking the barriers of diversity in engineering by race and gender. Why is that? Why is it that all these incredible, highly motivated stories of people come flowing out when you open the doors of Driftmeyer? I tried to search for some philosophical truth about why this is the case, but there isn't one. The truth is, these stories of our lives are the driving force behind us. They're the key ingredient to finishing our degree in engineering. Ask an EE or a CE what it takes to pass design methodology and build a frequency tracking robot. Ask a civil engineer what it takes to pass a structural design with Dr. Thompson, or ask a mechanical engineer what it takes to pass a statics or dynamics class. The story is always the same. There's no amount of brains or charm or money that will pass that class for you. It takes grit to be an engineer. Every discipline learns about the breakdown threshold of different materials. The current rating to fry a Raspberry Pi, the temperature threshold of a turbine, or the pressure threshold of concrete. Every man-made item has a breaking point. And I would argue people do too. However, what separated us from our fellow UGA students, and what will continue to separate us for the rest of our lives, is that when we reach that breaking point, we are unafraid to rebuild again. When we fail that test, when our code crashes, when the design falls apart, we call it a lesson learned and let a new story begin. We are resilient, we are driven, and now we are engineers. I'd like to close with a quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "If you give me 6 hours to chop a tree, I'll spend the first 4 sharpening my axe." Class of 23, we have sharpened the axe long enough, and it's time to chop some wood, baby. Go Dogs, sick 'em! Hoo, hoo.